This is Angela from All Things Angela. So on today's vlog, we're gonna do a cook with me. And so most of you may not know, I'm from Louisiana, and so I'm kind of gonna do a Cajun type seafood pasta. I'm using scallops, lobster, and shrimp. And so we're gonna do like a scallop, lobster, shrimp Alfredo. I did keto a couple years ago, so I don't really like to use pasta when I have spaghetti dishes. So I'm trying out this healthy noodle, and so we're gonna see how that tastes. Girl, it's my first time too, so I don't know how it's gonna taste, but I'm gonna saute it up and see what happens with that. Also gonna have asparagus because I try to make sure I get my veggies in. So we're gonna have this asparagus along with our seafood pasta. So get ready. I'm gonna show you the ingredients that we're gonna use next, and then we're gonna saute them. We're gonna season everything up, saute it, and girl, then we're gonna make that Alfredo sauce from scratch. All right, guys, I have my seafood separated. You see the lobster, the shrimp, and the scallops, and I'm seasoning everything now. I'm using a garlic seafood sauce seasoning, and I use garlic powder, onion powder. I use creole seasoning, parsley, and Italian seasoning. And so I just really make sure that everything is coated. And I don't measure anything. I've never really measured anything. I don't have any recipes that I follow. I can just kind of look at it and tell if it's seasoned well enough. And so once it's seasoned, I just begin to make sure everything is coated. And once it's coated, I'm going to transfer it to another container so I can wait till my grease is hot so I can begin sauteing everything. So as I'm transferring everything over to this other container, I'm actually heating up my olive oil and butter so I can begin sauteing the seafood, which you should see coming up. Yeah, doesn't that look amazing? We're waiting for the grease to heat up on the butter. I'm just working on my asparagus right now. I'm using olive oil. I'm going to just kind of coat it with some olive oil. And as I do that, I'm also going to just, get a nice coating. Because, I love it. Girl, you only live once. Use the olive oil. So I'm putting olive oil on it. And I'm also going to put like some seasoning. I want some garlic because I love garlic. So I'm going to put garlic on it just to get a nice flavor to it. So once I've added the garlic to it, I use my Creole seasoning, just girl, because I love Creole seasoning. So if it's too much garlic for you, use less, but it's fine for my family and I. And so we're going to put that in the oven for about maybe 15 to 17 minutes. And we're going to just let that cook. And we'll get back to the seafood and continue on. But doesn't that look good? All right, guys, now our butter and oil is heating so we can begin putting the seafood in the pan. You want to make sure you have like on a medium to low heat so that the butter can melt in your olive oil, because you don't want your seafood to go in and you burn all your seafood up. So yeah, let it melt, let the butter melt before you put anything in it, and make sure it's not too hot. Oh my God, doesn't this seafood look good? Look at the shrimp in there. Girl, that looks so good. But you're going to cook the shrimp for like 5 to 7 minutes, and then I'm going to put it in a container, and I'm going to put the lid over it so it can kind of continue cooking there, because you don't want it to be too hard or rubbery. So just make, when it's, you want to cook it for about 5 to 7 minutes, and just make sure that, you don't see any pink, and then you'll transfer it over to another container. As I transfer it over, I always make sure that there's a lid. So you'll see me putting it in the container, and so I'll have it there, and I'm going to just keep it while all the other seafood's cooking also. But once it's done, once I transfer everything over, I put the lid on, and it can continue cooking in the lid. All right, loves, I added the lobster. I added a little bit more butter to my pan just to make sure I had enough, like just enough to keep everything coated. And I'm only going to cook this for about 5 minutes just to get the seasoning in there. And do you see all that lovely goodness going on in the bottom of the pan? But like I said, this is only going to be about 5 minutes because the lobster's already cooked, but I just wanted to soak it in that. Girl, look at that butter. And I'm going to take the lobster out and put it in the same pan that the shrimp is in as I continue preparing the meal. So now we're working on the scallops. And guys, the scallops really take maybe 5 to 7 minutes to cook also. So I'm just sauteing them in the pan. And once they're sauteed, I'll transfer that over and then make sure that everything is prepared. Oh my goodness, look at that. This is going to be the best sauce to make our Alfredo. Look how good that looks. Now that all the seafood's cooked, I'm going to use that use the sauce that's left over, And I'm just going to add my seasoning trio to it, add some garlic to it, and let that saute for a couple minutes. Look how good that looks. Oh my God. It has all the seasoning from all of the seafood. This is going to be amazing. But you see, I have my onions in there, my green peppers and everything kind of just cooking down just to get translucent. And once it gets translucent, the magic will begin to happen. Guys, now that my seasoning is cooked down, I'm going to add some white wine vinegar to it, because I just always use the white wine vinegar when I make my Alfredo sauce. And you see all that magic happening. Look at the sizzle on that. Oh my goodness, that looks so, girl, it looks sexy. Look at it. As my base is cooking down, I went to get my asparagus out of the oven. Girl, look at that. Oh my God. And yes, I'm adding more butter to my asparagus because yeah, I just want to add more butter to it. So I'm using this garlic butter that we normally get from Winn-Dixie. It's like a garlic butter parsley. If you have a Winn-Dixie, they probably sell it in their seafood section. But I'm going to just let that melt on it to kind of just make sure it's nice and, you know, garlic buttery. I love it, love it, love it. So now I'm going to be adding about 2 cups of whole whipping cream, and I'm just going to add it and just kind of stir it so that I can get, you know, like a good stir on it, get everything mixed really nice. And so I'm going to continue just stirring that, mixing it. While this was mixing, I also added my Parmesan and mozzarella cheese in off camera. I'm going to use the Winn-Dixie butter, the garlic butter parsley mixture, and I'm going to melt some of that so I can begin to saute my noodles, because I've never had these noodles before, and the packaging says just melt butter, olive oil, saute them, and that should be fine. So I rinsed them off camera. All right, so I'm adding my healthy noodles, and like I said, I've never used these noodles before. They almost look like a pad thai type noodle, but like I said, I've cleaned them and strained them, and I'm adding them to the garlic olive oil butter sauce, and I'm just going to saute them. The packaging says like 2 to 5 minutes, so I'm going to saute them and just get them nice and saturated with that seasoning. So I actually went in and I sauteed the pasta with the garlic butter and olive oil seasoning, and it looks really well. It reminds me again of a pad thai type noodle, but it actually tasted very well when I tried it out. So, and as you can see, it, you know, they're not mushy, they're not breaking up, they're really nice. So I plated everything. It looks really nice. It tasted very well. I could not tell the difference with the pasta. So if you're doing keto or it's low carb, definitely try it.